Welcome to the Profit by Design podcast. You are joined today, Dr. Sabrina and myself, Melissa Kay. I'm the lead strategist at Tap the Potential and the Chief Dream Officer. And Dr. Sabrina is the business psychologist. So I'm going to pick her brain today and take you guys along a journey of how to prevent burnout by asking for help. This is an amazing topic that so many business owners experience. And we have some research and phenomenal tips to support you with this. So I just want to dig in, Dr. Sabrina, and tell me, I know you've spent years researching burnout and entrepreneurs. What trends are you seeing?
So first off, I just want to say that I think it is wonderful that we finally have a word for what entrepreneurs experience. 10 years ago, there was no language really to even describe it. And in the last 5 years, especially since COVID, it's actually one of the crazy gifts of COVID is there's a lot more attention all around about burnout. And I actually, right before COVID hit, created an assessment to measure burnout in entrepreneurs, and that morphed into our Better Business, Better Life assessment. So I'm honored to be able to share trends with you. And I want you to know these trends come from our community members. We've surveyed over 700 entrepreneurs now, and our data is very compelling about what the experience of entrepreneurship is. So I think the first thing to really grasp is that 9 out of 10 entrepreneurs is burning out. 9 out of 10. So if you are feeling like there must be something wrong with you, that you're messing up somehow as you run your business, I want you to hear, like, you are so not alone. That this is not a problem with you. Burnout is a result of what the experience of entrepreneurship is. And so today, Melissa and I are going to talk about how to get out of burnout and how to prevent it. But first, let's really just kind of own what this experience is. So one of the things we need to understand about burnout is that we are like the frogs in the boiling pot of water when we're burning out. We think we can tolerate it. We think because we've been doing this for so long and grinding through it that we can continue. But burnout actually leads to other bad things in our lives, and entrepreneurs are really at risk. There is a study that Michael Freeman and some others put out in the Small Business Economics in 2018 that reveals that we entrepreneurs are 2 times as likely to suffer from depression, 2 times more likely than the general population to suffer from depression. We're 70% more likely to experience addiction. And our divorce rate as entrepreneurs is estimated to be 5 to 10 times higher than it is for the general population. These are the results of burnout, of allowing everything that leads to burnout and the experience of burnout to continue. So those are the trends I think that we really need to pay attention to.
I want everyone to hear loud and clear, you are not alone. All business owners go through this and experience it, and team members do as well. And I want us to touch on that topic as well during this episode. And another thing is so many business owners beat themselves up over not being able to get everything done. And they implement all of these time management tactics and still just feel like they beat themselves up, mentally and physically, really, because they're pushing too hard. And the time management tactics that they're hearing repeatedly just don't work. So we actually have a podcast episode about that coming up. And I think this burnout really plays into it because when we're overworking ourselves, we can't think and we just end up freezing. And this is just part of a symptom of burnout.
Yes. Yeah. So let me go through what the symptoms are of burnout that we're seeing from our data. So I also want to clarify that the entrepreneurs we're surveying, we are not surveying people who are brand new in business. The average length in business of those we've surveyed is 12 years. And the most frequently reported number of days entrepreneurs say they're able to be away, fully unplugged from their business, is 0 days. So that right there, that feeling of constantly being on and never unplugging is a significant contributor to burnout. So the reason I'm driving that home is I think it's really important to understand you most likely have been in business a number of years and you're experiencing burnout. And I want you to understand this data is about you. So 8 out of 10 of us are reporting that our mood fluctuates based on how the business is doing, right? Like things are going well. We've had a great quarter of sales and everyone's excited. I'm excited. And then all of a sudden there's a slump and it's like, oh my gosh. And then our moods are just tied to what's going on. Or there's a problem with the best customer and somehow our team has messed things up. And then all of a sudden our mood is in the tank. 6 out of 10 of us feel as though it takes increasing effort to accomplish simple tasks. So that is that feeling of I don't have anything really hard that I need to do, but it takes me forever to get things done. And I'm falling further and further behind. 1 out of 2 of us on any given day has neglected basic needs such as sleep, healthy eating, or social interaction with friends and family because we're working and doing something in the business. So those are contributing factors to burnout. 8 out of 10 of us feel as though we cannot switch off and not think about the business. So that is a symptom of burnout, but it's also something that drives burnout because we're constantly thinking about business, even when we're not working. So a crazy thing is when you ask business owners, how many hours a week are you working? A lot of them will say all the hours because you're constantly thinking about the business. And 4 out of 10 of us report being easily annoyed or irritated. That's another symptom of burnout. 1 out of 3 of us are reporting greater and greater difficulty making decisions. That feeling of analysis paralysis, like I have so many things coming at me and so many things I need to handle and sort out and figure out, and I'm just frozen. That's that experience, and that's a symptom of burnout. 1 out of 3 of us feels discouraged about the future. Like, we've been working so hard to grow this business and make it better, but I don't really trust that it's going to be better. And by the way, this data is across 4 or 5 years. So this has nothing to do with what's going on currently politically in the economy. Nothing. This is just the experience of burnout. And so you couple, all the turmoil that's going on in our country right now on top of what entrepreneurs are already experiencing, and it's a setup to exacerbate symptoms of burnout. So this particular mix, feeling like no one understands us and the stressors we experience, feeling discouraged about the future, feeling easily annoyed or irritated, it's a recipe for us to act in ways, to act out and exacerbate the very experiences that put us at risk for depression and other mental health problems and problems in our relationships. So coming home and lashing out at our family members is an example of, the cumulative effect of burnout.
Another great example is feeling tied to your phone.
Yeah.
You just can't put that phone down. And business owners are reading their emails at night and on the weekends and responding to team members and customers and clients. And you really need to be able to shut all of that off and take a break.
Yeah.
So let's talk about how this burnout trickles down to your team members.
So you've heard the saying, the fish stinks from the head down. That's what it's like to be a team member in a business with the owner who is burnt out, because the business owner is cranky, tired, irritable. We are not asking powerful coaching questions. We're not creating a safe, supported place for ourselves, much less our team members, when we are burnt out. And I think those of you who are familiar with the choice map and the learner judger path from the book Change Your Questions, Change Your Life by Dr. Mary Lee Adams can really appreciate when we are burning out, our mindset is much more susceptible to being fixed mindset,
Mhm.
and we're much more likely to go down the judger path. And so the judger path looks like one thing bad happened today, and I start to think everything is going to go bad. And then I start looking for whose fault is it, and I got to figure out which of my team members screwed up. So now I'm going to go hunt them down and talk to them, and then of course our tone and our body language is harsh and sharp. And so that just creates this feeling throughout the business of a lack of emotional and psychological safety for our team members. And when we, the business owners, start going down the judger path and looking to blame and point fingers when things go wrong and watching for the next thing that's going to go wrong, our team members start doing that too. And so it creates this feeling where team members who may have been very close and cohesive can start infighting because they're all scared. And
Mhm.
when it's crazy how quickly our brains can switch from a feeling of love, safety, we're in this together, to I got to save myself. I got to watch out. And that just stops all creative problem solving. But this is also where you'll lose A player team members, because all of a sudden it doesn't feel good to be at work anymore. Melissa, I want to invite you to share your experience as a team member, what it's like if you're working on a team where there's burnout happening.
Yeah, I have worked on several teams where there was a lot of burnout before Tap the Potential. And it really feels constricting, and it feels like you're just constantly trying to climb uphill, but you keep getting knocked down. And the more you try to make things better, and the more you try to bring ideas, right? And the more you try to innovate, and the more you try to be supportive, there's just this feeling of resistance and getting shut down constantly. No matter how hard I work, it's just not turning around. So what happens is your A players can't show up as their best self. I'm curious, speak to the business owner who's feeling burned out and suspects that their team is also burned out. How do they go to their team and ask for help?
So I think the first thing to start with is recognizing that you can't fix this alone. What's going on in your business. So I really wouldn't recommend going straight to your team and asking for help, because chances are they're burning out too. And when you're burnt out, you just can't solve problems. And this is why we see so much power in our Better Business, Better Life groups, because these business owners come together and get support from other business owners and us as strategists who are not burnt out. And we can look from the outside and we can be objective and say, you know what? I see an opportunity for you to create some ease over here. So the first place I would say to turn to ask for help is your peers, and in a safe, supported environment like our Better Business, Better Life program, where you have business strategists who can guide the process. But also, as you're doing that, recognizing your team actually is a great source for help, but you have to role model for yourself, taking care of yourself first
Mm.
before you go to ask the team for help. Because if you continue on the path that you are and you start asking them for help, it just feels like, here's another demand that this business owner is putting on me, and I'm already stretched very thin. So when you're role modeling limits and boundaries, and we'll get into that in a moment, like how to start taking care of yourself and prevent burnout. Um, when you're already role modeling some of those things, then it's an opportunity to go to your team and suggest to them that they do some of these same things that you're already doing because you're finding benefit in it.
Mhm.
And at that point, it becomes easier to say, let's figure out there's things that we're doing here that we could stop doing. And when it comes to asking for help from your team, what a powerful question to open up the door and say, "Help me figure out what are some of the things we're all overworking here. What are some of the things we could stop doing that aren't moving the needle, that aren't making an impact?" And that's really where it becomes so valuable to have clarity around what is that sweet spot of your business. So everything that we teach you in the Tap the Potential solution around niching down with a clearly defined sweet spot becomes very important because your team members can say, "Hey, I'm spending hours over here doing this thing for this client or customer. And yes, they bring in a lot of revenue, but when we add up all of the time I'm spending doing it,
Mhm.
I don't think it's really moving the needle for us." So you want to bring your team members into understanding the strategy and the sweet spot of the business, and then ask, what can we stop doing? And I think that's one of the best first questions to ask for help around. And then with that awareness, there's probably things on your plate as the business owner that you can stop doing, which
Mhm.
creates this, this like, oh, I can breathe a little bit. And then when your team members also have that similar experience of, oh, I can breathe a little bit, and you're giving them permission to say no. And as soon as you put control back into someone's hands, that feeling of they have power over their situation, that's how burnout starts to come down. And so a lot of team members don't feel empowered to say no, to speak up and say, well, yes, you want me to do this, but what can I stop doing? So figuring out what you can stop doing is one of the best places to stop the burnout for everyone on the team. But then looking at for yourself, what are the things that you're doing that are not your gifts, that are not your strengths, that take a lot of energy psychologically from us? And look at who on your team has strengths that would love to do those things. And this is the kicker. We can work all day long from our strengths and be energized. We can do an 8-hour day from our strengths and be energized. Or we can do an 8-hour day from our weaknesses and feel like we've been run over by a train.
Mm.
And so, working too many hours from our weaknesses, our Achilles heels, will contribute to burnout. So we need to look at taking things off our plate that are not our strengths and identifying who on our team has the strengths. And our that's another great way to ask for help, to just say, I don't like doing this thing. Who here would like to try this and take it on? And you'll be amazed at who steps up. And then also empowering your team members to look at their work in that same way. What do they love about what they do and what drains their battery, and support them in taking these things off of their plate and shifting responsibilities around. So in this asking for help, it's not like you, the business owner, are saying, "Hey, everyone here is here to serve me and keep me from burning out." It's we're in this together experience, and we're creating a great place to work that energizes all of us.
So that's the key to preventing burnout on your team before it even happens. So when things start to feel icky for your team members, when they're starting to feel overloaded, you're already consistently meeting with them, having one-to-one meetings, and asking them the powerful question, how might I support you? And giving your team members the opportunity to communicate with you as to what's going on. And it creates this beautiful environment of growing your team members to work towards their strengths, to do what they love, and then they're going to best serve your business and help your business grow. The key here is asking for help from your peers and having that community. This is so vital. An example of this is one of our clients who just joined our program. It's only been about 3 months. already has said, I don't feel burnout anymore. I never had anyone ask me how I was doing. I never had anyone to ask me what wins I'm celebrating. I never had anyone to say, how might I support you, or have a thinking partner. And I wasn't, before the Better Business, Better Life program, I wasn't even talking to other business owners to understand, hey, I'm not alone. All of these things are happening to everyone else. So that is critical. And just being a part of a community who get you and understand you and the things that you're going through is vital. So Dr. Sabrina, what are some signs that you need help, and what can you do about it?
So all the symptoms of burnout. So I would recommend, if you're listening to this and you're identifying with things that Melissa and I are saying, that you take our Better Business, Better Life assessment, because that will give you an opportunity to assess where you are with burnout, how many symptoms you're experiencing, and how at risk you are. But you will also have the opportunity to meet with Caitlin on our team, and she will go through with you actual changes that you can make in your business. And we call these your $10,000 an hour activities that will allow the business to be healthier and also set you up to thrive and be psychologically healthier as the owner of the business. So that is a free service that we offer to our entrepreneurial community at Tap the Potential. And you can take the assessment at tapthepotential.com/assessment. And when you take that assessment, the other thing we do is we send you a signed copy of my book, The 4-Week Vacation, which is all about learning how to unplug from your business. And you can read all the in-depth research that I did, not just on burnout, but on managing your time effectively in your business so that you focus on what works and really end up reducing your work week to 25 hours or fewer, because of using the strategies that are in that book. So that's what I would encourage you to do. Melissa, I think one of the other things we should talk about is the common fears around asking for help, because that's what holds us all back.
Yeah.
And so one of the biggest fears is a fear of looking weak, and admitting vulnerability and feeling like there must be something wrong with us. And so I really hope today, by sharing some of the research and the statistics on burnout, you realize it's not you. It's a common experience of owning a growing business and all the demands that are placed on us. And that when you get into a group of peers and you start talking about your experience and you see the other heads nodding, there is so much relief in that, to just know you are not crazy. But I think the other fear that comes along with this is that your people around you are not going to want to help you, and they're going to be annoyed or irritated in some way by you asking for help. There's that feeling, us entrepreneurs are human problem solvers. Like, that's our human nature, is just to solve problems. And so we tend to start thinking of ourselves as Superman or Superwoman in our world. And, we're wearing our underoos and, solving problems and saving the day. And nobody wants to help us. Everybody's used to us solving all the problems. And so what ends up happening is I have learned over the years that by asking for help, I'm actually stronger. Um, I have more support around me, and I get more things done and accomplish more things and solve more problems because I have a team of support helping me. So I would encourage business owners to really think about that. Melissa, I know you have a really great example that you want to share about a business owner who asked for help and what actually happened.
Yeah, one of our clients in the Better Business, Better Life program had all of those fears, and she felt like she was just a hot mess and just not doing enough, and really had difficulty moving her business forward. And she's been with us for about a year. And just yesterday, we met and went over her action plan for the year. All of our clients get an action plan when they start with us, and then I actually meet with them one-on-one every quarter to discuss their progress and what goal they're going to work on for that quarter. And I outline all of the steps. I actually type out all of the steps for them that they're going to be taking to achieve their goal. And we realized yesterday when she came into our program, I feel like for the first 2 months, she just cried every time we met because it was so overwhelming and such an extreme state of burnout. But yesterday, Dr. Sabrina, this magic just happened. She was confident. She was knocking things out in her business. And now she has someone who she has placed in the role as an integrator who is taking over her team and in the process of onboarding another team member who is going to free up half of her plate.
Wow.
She's taking time off, and it all came from showing up, being vulnerable, and asking for that help. And it is, it's stronger to ask for help than it to just stand back and say, okay, this is all me. I'm going to figure this out. But the group showing up and supporting her in that community and the coaching and the Better Business, Better Life program, she said yesterday, has just changed her life. Now she can take time off work, and we're starting to see such massive improvement in her business. So this is why we're here, and this is why we do what we do, and why we show up on the podcast for our community, because we believe so strongly that work should support life. So there's one action step that you can take today in your business that will move the needle forward monumentally, and that is go take the assessment. When you take that assessment, it's only going to take you about 15 minutes. When you take that assessment, it's really going to be light bulb moments, and it's going to make you think about things that you likely haven't even thought about for years, personally and professionally. And it's a no-brainer because Dr. Sabrina is going to send you a signed copy of her book. So go take that assessment, and then we would be happy to support you on a call. And Caitlin, our team, will walk you through everything that you need to do to take your life back from your business. So thank you, Dr. Sabrina. This is just such a powerful topic and a phenomenal episode, and I know that it's going to impact so many lives. We appreciate you and how you show up in the world, and the way that business owners are just being transformed daily as a result of your years and years of research and hard work to support our community.
Yes, I know from experience and working with so many of you entrepreneurs how you can turn your business around so that it supports your life. And that's what we're all about here at Tap the Potential, is helping you have a profitable business that gives you your life back. So we would love to have you join us in our programs if anything resonated with you today.
Thank you for tuning in. We will see you next time on the Profit by Design podcast.